train dogs to assist people with type 1 diabetes who have non-responsiveness to hypoglycemia. The dogs will sense that their blood glucose level is getting low and will alert them so that they can treat themselves. If the dog is not able to get a response from the person, he will go get help, either by a person who lives with that person or has been trained to pull the phone down and with a special pad on the phone dial 911. Now, if the dog is able to sense the person is arousable, he will go to the refrigerator and open it and get a juice box and bring it to the person. So he really has an ability to help the diabetic before a crash occurs. So Tippy was also a black lab. He was our first alert dog placement, and Tippy went to a young man in Purdue who was working on his graduate degree in chemistry. Unfortunately, he had so many difficulties with hypoglycemia unawareness and so many calls to emergency services. He got Tippy. And Tippy, the previous two placement, this young man had an average of 3 ER visits a week. After Tippy, within the first few weeks, obviously, he had a few because the dog was getting used to him again, and now none. So the young man in question had a CGM. The problem is, by the time it alerts in 15 minutes, he's already unable to help himself. He drops that quickly because he's had diabetes since he was 5. And so this really made a difference for him. So we have a poster presentation here. It was selected for the audio tour, and it talks about what happened with our first placement of the dog you and I talked about earlier, Tippy. And it shows scientifically how it helped this young man, and it also goes through how we train the dogs. About 5 years ago, Diabetes Forecast had a small article about hypoglycemia awareness dogs. We decided that we need to be able to show scientifically that this is a real thing. And it's a start of a big study. So Lily has something called Innovation Day, and a group of us at Lily made a presentation about how we wanted to learn more about what the dog senses so that we could standardize even what they sense and hopefully make available more samples. My biggest challenge is getting samples for training the dogs. Pete is a 2-year-old black lab. He is fully trained for hypoglycemia alert at this time, and Pete is going to be placed in the next few weeks with the diabetic. We have a large study coming up, and I'm in need of samples from people. What we do when the person has a low blood glucose level, we ask them to wipe the back of their neck and their forehead, blow on the gauze and put it in a baggie, and then they check their blood glucose and tell me what the sample was. And then we get them at least 6 hours later when they have a normal sample. I put that in the envelope, and then I need the envelopes back because of HIPAA. I can't know the name of the person, but we do want to know what their blood glucose level was. We are looking for type 1 diabetes samples. This program, ICANN, is completely nonprofit. So we don't, the typical cost that goes into a dog like this is about $22,000. People do not pay for these dogs. They pay a $1,200 fee to show that they can, in fact, support a dog for a year, because that's about what it costs by the time you give the dog food, by the time you feed, you do the veterinary care. That's about what it costs to own a dog. And so that's the only reason that we have them do that, is so that we could be sure that they can afford to care for the dog correctly. But we also have scholarship programs. So it's a very good